time for Crooked Joe Biden, the worst president in the history of the United States, and I to debate. We have to talk about what he's doing and where we're going. We owe it to our country. We owe it to all Americans. Anytime, anywhere, any place.
Well, we have the projected numbers, and this is exactly why it's important. By the first debate, 1 million people would vote. By the second debate, 3 million people are likely to vote. And by the third debate, 9 million people are likely to vote. So, I mean, the Democrats pushed early voting. They're the ones who have wanted this for generations even.
Right.
Now we have this. Now you got to live up to it. You know, Joe Biden, it's pretty clear why he wouldn't want to debate Donald Trump, not just his own cognition issues, but because his presidency has been indefensible up to this point. They had the advantage of the pandemic, of the whole world. The only person who probably benefited the most from the pandemic is Joe Biden, because he got to hide in his basement for the year while he ran for president. That's not an option this year. And the American public demand our two candidates for president have this sort of sparring out and discussing the problems. I also think a big part of this is that they're seeing how the American public is starting to react to the policies under Joe Biden. Another morning show on a left-leaning network had a panel the other day with 9 people, 9 diverse people demographically, geographically. All of these people, unanimous, 9 people on the show raised their hand, and they said Donald Trump's policies were better for America than Joe Biden's. The Democrats cannot risk having this be exposed on the stage with a guy as he gums his ice cream coming out of the store, as we just saw him.
I saw that, and I'm sure that the hosts were just, taken aback when all 9 of those people said Trump's policies are better. But, Cheryl, has Joe Biden ever even been on Fox News? I mean, I sat down with President Trump in January for an hour and a half. We sat there. I threw questions at him over and over and over again. For an hour and a half, he sat there and he took my questions and he answered every one of them. Would President Biden be able to do that? And has he ever given an interview as president to Fox News?
As far as I'm aware, I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I'm looking back, I'm like,
Martha
no, pretty sure
and Brett, I think, well, they've done town halls. I don't know that Joe Biden was part of it.
Well, this is obvious. The strategy that worked for them in 2020 is the one that they're leaning on now. The candidates come out in a debate, and Donald Trump came out and said, I'm not going to debate in the GOP primary. I don't have to debate. I'm not going to want to debate. I think that might hurt him now, because then Biden's coming back around and saying, well, you don't think debates are important. I'm not going to debate you. And that could help Joe Biden if he's not on the debate stage against Donald Trump. I mean, the one thing I will say about this election versus others in our past is that we know these two candidates very well, and we do know what they're about, and we know what we're going to get. And I think a lot of folks are probably, to Joe's point, they've already made up their minds. And I know it's only the spring, but, those undecideds, I realize they're still chasing the undecided voters.
We're not going to have a debate mano a mano, one-on-one until September. You just heard how many people will have voted by then. Joe has all the numbers. That's not fair to the American people.
Yes. I agree with you on that point. It just seems to the rhetoric that we're seeing from the Biden campaign in the White House that he's not interested.
Well, Chris, how about this one? Because Joe Biden, obviously, the age is an issue, the mental capacity is an issue. So a lot of people feel like a vote for Joe Biden is a vote for Kamala Harris. So do we know what we're getting there? Here's the vice president. What's your reaction?
Cognitive ability matters, right? It matters, and the president matters, and the vice president. But I'm not sure that people have more confidence. I'm sure they don't have more confidence in the vice president. That type of comment is just it doesn't bode confidence. I had something interesting. My mom said to me the other day, she said she feels that the cognitive ability of the president may be an issue in the election. It is an issue for her in the election. And I think what's happening is I think people have made up their mind, but any one of those debates brought forward is going to change things dramatically, and that's why they're trying to duck it so much. But Yabba Dabba Do is deeply troubling, Maria.
I don't know. I think that was maybe an ad lib, or maybe they put it in her script.
The second one, October 1 in Virginia. The third one a week later in the state of Utah. If that's how this ends up playing out, Caroline, that these are the 3, does the former president sign on to showing up to those 3?
You heard from President Trump himself. He will debate anytime, anywhere, any place, with any moderator. Absolutely. It is Joe Biden who has to answer the question of why, because he does not actually have a plan to curb inflation, or is it because his handlers know that he is far too weak to stand on a stage for 2 hours with President Trump, who is tenacious and tough? The American people deserve this debate, and we want to see it happen as soon as possible.
Does Trump care about the moderators? I mean, he has slammed the Presidential Debate Commission in the past. So if the moderators are, say, New York Times, MSNBC, CNN, does he do it?
He has said that. He has said, and he delivers on his promises. He'll debate anytime, anywhere, any place, any moderator, to make it even easier for Joe Biden.
All right. I think we get the point.
Criminal trial starting Monday was rejected. The trial will start Monday unless Trump comes up with something new. Trump spent the middle of the night posting erratic videos.
Years ago, we had the strongest and safest border in U.S. history. Now we have the worst border anywhere in the world, ever. There's never been a border like this. Our borders have completely collapsed, and many criminals are pouring into our country. We have them coming in from jails and prisons. We have them coming in from mental institutions.
Trump with more videos about Joe Biden, and then going on to talk about Social Security and Medicare. This is interesting because Trump is now arguing that Democrats are killing Social Security and Medicare, a total red herring distraction from the reality that it is Trump who has off and on toyed with. Maybe we do something about so-called entitlements.
Unlike the Democrats who are killing Social Security and Medicare by allowing the invasion of migrants into our country, it's an absolute, like a military invasion. I will not, under any circumstances, allow either of these two precious gems to be even touched under a Trump administration.
Now, it's important to understand Trump talking about how it is time to debate President Joe Biden, despite the fact that many times Trump has insisted he won't debate because the Commission on Presidential Debates is so unfair to him.
It's time for Crooked Joe Biden, the worst president in the history of the United States, and I to debate. We have to talk about what he's doing and where we're going. We owe it to our country. We owe it to all Americans. Anytime, anywhere, any place. Are you better off than you were 4 years ago? I don't think so.